Not what you'd usually find at the average brand activation, Chivas Afroblend is tonight taking us through a blend of more than just whiskey. A touch of blended music, fashion, sport, and surprisingly, food.
My name is Thalu and we are here at the amazing Latitude 15 hotels where we are joining Chivas Afroblend in collaboration with Manchester United for an amazing Afro-blended dinner. Let me take you inside so that you could have a look.
All the way from Johannesburg, South Africa, the gorgeous Minnie, who is in her words the unofficial official Chivas ambassador, was kind enough to school us on not just the Chivas brand, but on whiskey as a whole. A couple of life lessons I'm ready to take home with me.
So we're inside and Chivas Zambia is taking us through a blended dinner. Now this is a dinner like no other. They're taking us through something called whiskey pairing. Now this is where every single course comes with a dash of whiskey. Now this is something quite interesting because there's gonna be somebody to explain the history behind the Chivas Scotch whiskey brand. Now that's something to look forward to. I love that. Come on, follow me.
So the story of Chivas begins way back. It's usually written on the bottle, but the story of how Chivas Regal begins doesn't really begin until 1909. So we go all the way back to about 1878. So we think about two brothers. There's always a firstborn and a lastborn. And the firstborn was always the first one to take action. I might be a little bit biased because I am the firstborn myself, but the firstborn was always the first one to take action. So there were two brothers by the name of John and James Chivas, and they found themselves in an area called Aberdeen in Scotland. They grew up in a very small farm in Scotland, but one day they decided that, look, we're going to spend about 3 days walking to a better life. So they little walked to freedom, and they found themselves in Aberdeen. So a lot of the times in Scotland, there were a lot of emporiums. So emporiums is another name for your grocery stores, very similar to your ShopRite, Shopping Campaign, and Woolies, but below these emporiums, there were these basements. So James, the oldest, was the first one to actually go beneath the emporium and go to the basement where he found these barrels. So at the time, the Chivas brothers were, before they became the Chivas brothers, James and John were always the people that the people of Scotland went to find different products, find different flavors, find different tastes. So they decided to be entrepreneurs who could take this needs that people had from them and then form Chivas brothers. So James eventually, pushed by the firstborn, and then Chivas brothers was born. Beneath all of these emporiums was the basement, and they started experimenting in whiskey blending or whiskey maturing. So as a side note, the founder of Ballantyne's, Mr. George Ballantyne, was actually the pioneer of whiskey blending. However, there had been a lot of people at the time who had been experimenting in whiskey maturing and also just whiskey blending. So you fast forward to about 1909, where the first blend of Chivas Regal came, which was the Chivas Regal 25. So for those of you that don't know, Chivas Regal was actually the first luxury whiskey in the world. So the Chivas 25 was the first whiskey that we had, and the Chivas brothers decided to go and embark and go to New York. So if you think of New York now, the same way that it was back in the day, we're thinking stockbrokers, we're thinking Wall Street, people with money, people that can afford the Chivas 25. So the market is booming, people are really appreciating a different kind of taste, because when you talk about our single malts as opposed to our blended Scotch whiskies, the one is more robust in flavor than the other. As a side note, within the Scotch category, we have a single malt and we have a blended Scotch whiskey. If I give you an example of a single malt, a part of our family, we have the Glenlivet. There are some other competitors that we will not talk about tonight. But within the single malt category, it simply refers to a whiskey that has been made in a single distillery, so you can basically say a single source.
The Snorkel Chivas collaboration was by far the epitome of the night. The blend of fashion, sport, and that urban African touch was simply to die for.
There's so many things that inspire me. First of all, I love music, I love food, I love alcohol, especially Chivas. I've been a Chivas drinker for a long time now. So when the opportunity came for me they approached me with this idea of, doing an Afro blend, sportswear kind of clothing. So when that came through, I think I was given 2 weeks to come up with the collection. Started from sketches The whole inspiration comes from first a mood board. From mood board, they wanted to look at my mood board, what had inspired me, and I think football inspires me, Chivas itself inspires me, African fabric, mostly if you see the aesthetics of our brand Snoko, it's mostly about African print. So when an opportunity came for me to fuse African print with sportswear to create an athleisure collection, I think I just grabbed it from what we've created in the past for fashion shows or for clients. I think everything just came through together because of what I've been doing in the past. I think my biggest challenges was acquiring the fabric, acquiring the right fabrics, acquiring the right accessories, because when you look at the collection, in the collection you see little details that you can't see, and to get such things in Zambia, and especially in a time when there's COVID, borders are locked, and you don't get so many flights. Most of the items that I needed to finish off the collection had to come from abroad, and that was a very huge challenge. And I only had like a month or two to put the collection together and create this capsule collection. Is Chivas my favorite whiskey? Yes, of course it is.
What's a night without your local ambassadors sharing their Chivas Afroblend experience?
All right, I'm standing here with the Chivas Afroblend ambassadors, Zambian ambassadors for that matter. And I'll start with the lady, Wezi. Amazing, beautiful Wezi. What has been your experience with Chivas Afroblend?
Bonding with these two, first of all, that has to be the primary thing, because I didn't get the chance before then to spend as much time as I have with them, to experience their creativity. So like I say, like they are saying, success is a blend and blended is better. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Peter.
Yes, baby.
How would you describe your experience with Chivas?
Well, my experience with Chivas has been so amazing. Of course, like she said, blending with these guys. These are people that I look up to. I just used to see them on social media, on TV, but then having a chance to do some stuff with them, collaborate, be on billboards with them, it's just been so amazing.
Nice.
And it's definitely taken me to greater heights. Yeah.
Awesome. Maki, too, lastly, what has been your experience with Chivas?
My experience has been great, man. It's been great. Working with these two guys has been amazing, like they've said already. Even the selection of the three of us as brand ambassadors for Chivas was a dope idea, because all of us bring something different to the table. And man, it's been a great blend, and I'm happy to be part of it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, a blend of rap, a blend of vocals, and a blend of fashionista magic. I present to you the Chivas Afroblend ambassadors, Maki, Wezi, and of course, Peter. We out.
There you have it, a Chivas Afro Blended night. Safe to say, nobody's driving home tonight.